I wanted to film this video for a long time, but something prevented me. It's either my own weakness and lack of discipline, or simply the universe trying to send certain message. I right now watched the video about Lakshmi, and I watched the yantra of Lakshmi, and I had ambivalent feeling. One part of me really wanted to draw the yantra no matter how difficult it is and to connect with the goddess, and another part was like, aren't you the guy who wants to connect with the asuras? Aren't you the guy who wants to confront the difficulty instead of swimming in abundance and luck? And when I looked at Yantra of Lakshmi, something called me and reminded me that this video should be filmed. As like the title suggests, this video is about Vinayaka Dantin, the shadow form of elephant god Ganesh from the Hindu tradition. In this video I will tell you how to summon Vinayaka Dantin, who is shadow form of Ganesh, what is Ayanist lore regarding Dantin, and how Dantin should be approached. Right now on the screen you see a yantra for summoning Vinayaka Dantin. That yantra is the symbol we use to connect with him. Summoning of him is really simple. You draw this yantra, and then in darkness with enough light you can see the yantra. You chant the name Vinayaka Dantin, Vinayaka Dantin, Vinayaka Dantin over and over again until you feel this presence of the spirit with you. Once you feel presence of the spirit with you, give to the spirit your requests. Now, Vinayaka Dantin is the tantric demon who represents the shadow form of Ganesha, and he is used if you want to direct enormous amounts of negative energy towards somebody or something. He can also be used for money, protection, and removing of obstacles. However, I was personally instructed in my personal practice, which doesn't have to be the same for everybody else, to use him specifically to fill my astral bodies with negative energy, so I can, go to the next step of my spiritual journey, which is extremely deep work with Rakashi Lankini. Now, for those of you who are not in contact with Iron World Foundation and do not study their information, I will also, for the purpose of this video, teach you lore of Vinayaka Dantin. So, we are not given a lot of details about who Vinayaka Dantin is, outside of the fact that we are taught that he is shadow form of Ganesh. However, within Tantric Ayanist tradition, as taught by the Iron World Foundation, we are taught that there are three mighty gatekeepers into the talas, into the realms of the underworld, into the realms of the Hindu underworld, into the lower worlds. Those three gatekeepers are Rakashi Lankini, Vinayaka Dantin, and Ashtura Kalanemi. Now, Vinayaka Dantin is, according to the many Ayanist sources, one of the most important gatekeepers, because he is the one who feels and empowers the energy body of the initiate with enormous amounts of negative energy, so he can survive the trials in the lower worlds or talas. Without enormous empowerment with negative energy given by Vinayaka Dantin, we cannot survive as human beings enormous challenges which await us in the Talas in order for us to link with the left side of the Brahman. Now, when I personally asked Pishacha Mayalkan about how should spirits in Ionist tradition we are familiar with be approached, he gave the following answer. Mayalakan taught me that the first spirit who should be approached is Dantin, to fill you with a lot of negative energy, then Lankini, to refine that negative energy and teach advanced mysteries, and then after Alankini we should approach Asura Kalanemi to master the time itself. Now keep in mind that what I am saying is my personal spiritual experience, so many people can disagree and are free to correct me if they are indeed taught by the traditional Ionist sources and have more elaborate information on the issue. Now, Vinayaka Dantin is extremely intense energetically and he is not easy spirit to work with. In my experience, when one summons Vinayaka Dantin, he should really be careful about what he is doing. In my opinion, if you want to start working with the Ionist tradition, Lavali Angati Saman is much easier choice. If you really want to approach Dantin, approach him, but my experience with him was empowering. It was liberating in many ways, but he is one of the more difficult spirits I summoned. And I summoned a lot of spirits from a lot of traditions in my spiritual path, and Dantin was one of the most difficult to summon and one of the most difficult to handle, for sure. Now there is one weird guideline all of us received from the Ion World Foundation, and that guideline is that those really powerful spirits who reside in negative dimensions, aka Talas, should be summoned during the night in darkness at 2 a.m. Now I didn't understood why we are given this guideline, which is kind of difficult to follow, and if you really want to follow this guideline you kind of need to devote a lot of time. You need to prepare yantra, prepare the space, wake up at 2 a.m. and do the ritual. It's kind of demanding, especially because those rituals tend to last. If you really want to summon spirit well. So, how one should summon Vinayaka Dantin? As I said earlier, he can be summoned for curses, removal of negative energy, removing of obstacles, and directing of enormous amounts of negative energy towards somebody or something. If one wants to truly master Tantric Ionist left-hand path, Dantin should be one of the first spirits who you summon if you want to triliously ascend, in order to receive enormous amounts of negative energy from him so you can progress further. Now in this video I will give complete instructions on how to summon Dantin. First, my personal experience is that it's better to pre-draw the yantra. So draw the yantra before the ritual. So you draw the yantra before the ritual, and then when you have the opportunity, take the yantra at 2 a.m. and in the room with the small light start chanting the name of Vinayaka Dantin over and over again while you gaze into the yantra. Now yantra will start to blink, it will start to shift, and you will feel a lot of heavy energy pouring from the yantra. When that happens, continue chanting until you kind of feel extremely intense presence of powerful negative spiritual energy. And when that happens, know that Vinayakadantin is indeed with you in the room. When we reach that point of the ritual, simply give to Vinayakadantin your requests and let Dantin himself to do what he needs to do in your space and meditate until his energy dissipates. Don't go out of the ritual before energy dissipates. That's really disrespectful. Dantin is, at the end of the day, shadow form of really powerful Hindu god, and he should be treated with respect. Dantin is also a kind of, how I can say, Dantin is in my experience, Dantin and Kanalanemi are the most powerful spirits I approached in Tantric Ayanist tradition so far. Dantin is really powerful, but he is kinda easier to handle than some other spirits from the Ayanist tradition, because he is at the end of the day shadow form of Ganesh, and he is not as aggressive as some other spirits from the tradition, like Lankini or Kalanemi. I had much more traumatic first time encounters with Lankini and Kalanemi than with Dantin. Dantin was kinda intense, but he wasn't, how I can say, too intense. Lankini was the most intense for me, but when we talk about Dantin, Vinayakadantin, he really wasn't as intense. Videos on Lankini and Kalanemi are coming soon. What I can say is, once Dantin is present, address him with respect and wait for his energy to dissipate before leaving the ritual. Summoning him is really simple. Technically wise, the only thing I advise is to prepare the yantra before the rite, and also to really focus on chanting and looking into the yantra until you really feel the entity with you in the room. Now, the reason why you need to summon spirit in almost complete darkness at 2 a.m. is because there is something about darkness and 2 a.m. which influences your brain really intensely, and in almost complete darkness and 2 a.m. you are really capable of linking with those spirits. I tried to summon them in all kinds of environments and times, and really I had the best results in complete darkness at 2 a.m. And what I can say is that Ion World Foundation really knows what they are doing. They are really dedicated to the task, and I suggest everybody to check out Ion World Foundation Patreon, contact them and speak to them about any issues they have, or if they want spiritual knowledge. In my opinion, Ion World Foundation is the right place to start seeking spiritual information. So what I can say is thank you for watching, and summon Vinayakadantin according to the instructions, and see you tomorrow. If you want more elaborate instructions on summoning Vinayakadantin, there is a link on summoning tantric demons in the description, so you can do it yourself with more elaborate guidance. I was here in this video just to present my own experience and methodology I myself used to summon Vinayakadantin. Yantra for summoning him is already on the screen, so enjoy and see you tomorrow.